Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. This is episode 101, where I had the immense pleasure to have Mecca Nelson, or Mecca, the microphone checker, as she referred to herself many a time. She is the founder of the YOMA method. She is a wellness coach and a author. We talked about how she got started with YOMA and basically, how she's been helping people with this. And basically, I've got to say her life story is very interesting indeed. I've also got to say, one of the most lively people I've actually spoken to for a little bit of time. So please sit back, enjoy the podcast, and have an exceptional day. Yeah. Peace. Oh, hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. Woo! Today I have Mecca Nielsen on the podcast. Okay, let me just say she is a lady who is busy. She is the founder of YOMA. She is a wellness and life coach as well as an author. She is also known as Mecca, the mic checker, as well as her pseudonym. How are you today, Mecca?
I'm doing good today. How you doing?
Yeah.
I can't. You got me. You got me when you said Mecca the mic checker. Yeah, I'm Mecca the microphone checker. 1 2 1 2. Wait a minute. Boom boom. Just had to put that in there.
Brilliant, brilliant. I am very happy to have you on today. Hey, I've got to ask to starting this off, what is YOMA? I've got to ask.
I get that question a lot.
I'm
I
sure
really
you
do.
do.
Yeah, YOMA method is yoga, martial arts, and meditation fused into one.
Mm,
It is multi-generational, multidisciplinary, because it has all those three spaces that actually connect your mind, body, and spirit together as one, which is very important, especially with times like this that we're experiencing. A lot of times people are more in their head than allowing themselves to move through the process. And they always want to know what's next, than allowing themselves to just be patient and learn how to pivot through the process. So that's what the YOMA method is. It's really teaching people some tricks to maneuver through a process that may be hard,
mm.
of those type of things.
Yeah,
Yeah, in life.
yeah, I can imagine yoga and martial arts mix. That is, I've got to say, that is a unusual fusion of things. Is this something you developed yourself, or was it something you were taught? How did this come about?
You know, the real talk, it didn't have a name before.
Right?
I so there's some ways that it came about, right? So one way, which was more of an intense way, in a space where I was hurting, um, I had lost my late husband who was killed in Iraq. And that's where the YOMA method came about.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I realized sitting down with therapists and they wasn't really feeding me. I mean, I guess it was the one that I had, because that one made my mind shift and change into something else in a different space, because I felt like they was repeating everything that I was saying, you
Mm.
know, and it would be my daughter and I that would go, and she was 3 when it happened. So we'll go get the grief counseling, and then the therapist that we were actually seeing said some things, and I felt like he wasn't feeding me, my body, it just wasn't anything that I could work on. He didn't give me anything to work on. He'll just repeat, so your daughter feels that you do too much by yourself, and she wants someone to be able to help you. Yeah, but we understand that. We know that already. We know what happened to her father. She just needs to understand that daddy's not coming back, that daddy is in heaven. That's what she needs to understand. So I don't need him to repeat things to me. I need him to tell me, what can I do? How can I work with it? Because I was in a real space where I never thought that I was going to get out of it. I was in a little box. But as time went by, I started to train in martial arts. And as I started to train in martial arts, it really was showing me a different space. It showed me see, people are so stuck on their strength, their physical strength.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about the physical strength. It's about the mental, spiritual strength that you hold on the inside, because that's where your power comes from. Your power comes from that mental and spiritual strength, not that physical strength. Anybody can carry a bag or lift something, but when you have that physical and mental strength, that helps you build a different space. So I noticed that I was releasing so much, and I started to pay attention to my breath more. I also started to do yoga, but yoga became more in tune with me when I got injured. Because, like, okay, listen, God was telling me to sit down. I wasn't listening to him. So he made it where I had to sit my tail feather down. And I got injured and I did not work for 3 years. So that was the hardest thing ever, not to be able to work for 3 years because of surgeries, injections, and all of that type of stuff. So that's where the yoga really became something important in my life. And I had to stop martial arts for a very, very, very long time. Okay, very long time. And then my body changed. My body is no longer the same. I have to modify everything that I'm doing. And that's when I learned with moving with integrity. And this is how I teach my students and my clients: moving with integrity no matter what. That means no matter no matter the way that you're doing it and how you're doing it, you're still moving with integrity. You're still moving with grace. You're still moving with power, even if you need to modify. I was mad at myself because I had to modify. I was mad at myself because I wasn't able to do the same things I was able to. But we got to learn in life, it's not always going to be the same. Things change and you have to shift through it. That's where the yoga came in play. And during my process of, healing, I ended up taking a teacher training for yoga. So I'm telling you how we got started now. I'm taking this long story and chunking it up into pieces. Right?
Take all the time you need. It's your time. It's your show at this present time.
Thank you. So I was sitting in the class. I was like the oddball in the class. I'm sorry. I was a Black girl, like to do my makeup, do my weird earrings. I'm just saying. And I actually had somebody tell me that you didn't belong. You don't belong here. Like, they verbalized that to me. And I'm like,
why did someone say that to you? Like,
they felt like I wasn't tuned in. They literally told me I wasn't. There was more than one person that felt like that. I could feel the energy penetrating from a lot of people that didn't express it, but you could tell how they treated me. They didn't speak with me. They wouldn't communicate with me. They'll look at me, and the energy that they would give me was like, oh, she just don't. One person, a female, actually came up to me and said, why are you here for? It's like you don't even belong. Like, it seemed like you don't even belong here. Like, it's like you're not even tuned in. I'm tuned in, but I don't have to be like you to be tuned in, right? So, it really did something to me. And I was one of the ones in the class. I really had to do a lot of modifications because I was still working with how to maneuver with the injuries. And as I'm recovering with them, I got to listen to my body. So, and honestly, yoga's supposed to be no judgment. I'm being honest. It's supposed to be no judgment. It's not supposed to be in a negative space, period. And I was in that space with people because how are you going to tell me I don't belong here? Oh, because you always come here dressed and, well, you know what? I'm coming from work or I'm coming from school and I don't know how you want me to look when I'm in the streets, and you always got your makeup done and your nails did. What do you want me to do? Like, I don't know what you, and if I came dirty, then you talk about me too. So which one is it? Because I'm confused. Because anybody that know me know I like to look pretty. I like to wear my makeup. I can have a different hairstyle tomorrow, next week, and but I do go natural. So I'm natural, but but it's me. You can't not take that away from me because that is who I am. That's what makes me Mecca, the microphone check. I'm just saying, So, and at that time, I was still finding myself. I was still finding my way. And as I was finding my way, because I was still hurting from losing my late husband, I was with this man since I was a teenager. He was my first in everything in life, And I was still hurting from it for years. I say years, I mean years. We may get into that one later on. But as far as the YOMA method, I would sit there in the corner, blink out everybody in the room because I'm feeling so much negativity. I'm people coming to me saying things. I just got to a point where I was sitting in one part of the room, and it was like in the corner by the mirror, in the circle, because we all had to sit in a circle with my pillow set up against the wall so my back could lean up against something, with my books and pens. And I would blink out everybody, listen and pay attention to the teachers that was teaching us, the instructors that was teaching us the yoga class and helping us get our certifications. And my brain started going like in the back of my head. I was like, I started seeing movements as we would do like the classes, the practice classes. I started seeing like movements in my head. It's like, oh, yeah. And it was one of those moments where I would feel it and I would just start writing it down and jotting it down. And excuse me, as I'm jotting it down, I'm like, oh, just didn't have a name for it. And as I did that, now let me tell you, throughout the end of towards the end, as we was graduating, they made us get into a circle. Mind you, I already created the YOMA, but nobody knew. I didn't speak about it because when you're in a space of negative people, you don't speak what you're working on or what you're thinking about or what you're plotting or what you might do or going to do. You just don't do it.
Crabs in the bucket, as they say.
Yes. See, yeah, there you go. So I kept it to myself, but I always kept that positive energy about myself. Anybody that know me, they just know that that's how I am. Like you could say something slick to me, and I'll just laugh at you, or I'll just let you know how I feel, and I won't bite my tongue. I learned how to be very assertive and handle situations, and I did have to do that inside that training because it was one chick, she was testing me. I just had to say she was testing this chick. But anyway, back from that. However, sometimes the universe and sometimes the enemy will bring people in your place to try to distract you from actually accomplishing what you need to accomplish. And I learned that because if I did not complete that training, I wouldn't have been able to start the YOMA method when I did. And at the end of that training, everybody had to, like, I had to get in a, like, everybody had to get in the circle and you just say something about the person. When I got in that circle, I was not sure what was going to be said. I mean, like as time went by, they got to know Mecca. They got to know who I was. So there was no more judgment. However, there was still one person, there always got to be that one. that one that you just want to, like, I'm being honest. This is real talk. I'm being real.
No, I understand. Like, yeah, no matter what you do, no matter how determined, how focused, or how dedicated you are to a cause, and you show that publicly, you can't please everyone, and there'll be that one often, not all the time, but often, which will come up and just like judge you, and like with regards to that, and it's one of the things when like we all make sort of personal judgments about other people. And like, this is a thing. This year has been kind of a reminder to not sort of like basically judge a book by its cover, or not like basically take for granted what that person's done, how they've walked. For example, Chadwick Boseman, right? Uh,
Yeah.
Basically, no one knew about him, and like it was a case of, yeah, people like made judgments about, oh, you're looking like a bit sick, or you've like taken training too far. But for like at least three major films, he was having bowel cancer, and he like soldiered on. He
Mhm.
like basically visited children's hospitals, helped them on the wards, didn't say
Mhm.
anything about his plight or whatnot, so it didn't
Mhm.
take any emphasis away from the charity work the charitable work he was doing. And then when it came out in the mix that, yeah, he's done all of this good, everything like this, and cancer took him down, people are like, what? Very shocked, very surprised. And like the whole point is, no one was walking these shoes. And like that one person in your class, when you were trying to get certified, like, hey, they didn't know you were like you lost your husband, or they like if they did know, they didn't
They
care.
knew.
Yeah. Uh, Being a single mother at the time, like basically doing this course, and I've were you doing like were you trying to get your college education at the same
I
time?
was in school for massage therapy full time. And those are medical classes. That was intense.
Yeah. So you're doing all of this, like you're carrying some heavy water, if you get.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's like, yeah, I'm better than you, or yeah, you're not worthy to be in the same class as me. When you're working maybe three times, maybe four times harder than this person,
Hmm.
they will never
I
give
was. You're right. You hit it on the nail. I really was. Because she's married.
you.
Her husband was taking care of everything. She wasn't, like, I'm not here to judge, but that's exactly what happened. I'm doing 10 times, 50 times the work that needs to be done, and I'm dealing with a different situation.
Mm,
So, but you know what I always say? I said the good always prevails, because at the end of that training, everybody except that one person, we stayed in contact, built great friendships, relationships,
mm,
so very supportive, because they now they see like, whoa, okay, that's why you're so different.
mm,
I'm different in a unique way, and you have to understand that. And I do things in an unorthodox manner, but it's efficient, it's effective, because it is what works,
mm.
right? And that circle at the end of that training, they all came out and was telling me what they was thinking about me. One person did already. Everybody else kept it quiet, but you could feel the energy. They all said how they felt about me. And tears was falling from their eyes, because that judgment was so deep. But the relationships that was built from that was amazing. But that one person, there's
Mm.
always that one person, but in the midst of it is, those are the same people that supported me with the YOMA method as it grow, right? They'll support, they'll be there to uh represent, and then that's what matters. That was my, they say, like, certain people you hang with in school, when you graduate or something like that, or they say these are going to be your allies. Like when I was in school for massage therapy, they say these are going to be your allies. I'm like, not really. It's not really the classmates that was my allies. It was the teachers. The teachers was my friends. They
Mm.
are my friends now. They are my mentors. They speak on panels when I do events. So in my eyes, it's like it was the teachers that was like, every time I went into a space, I could never click with if I'm a student, I wasn't clicking with the students like that. I probably click with one, two students, but mainly it was always the teachers,
Yeah.
the professors,
Why do you think you didn't really sort of click with the students?
because I was on a different level, spiritually on a different level, and energy wise on a different level. And I I carry a certain type of light and energy when I walk into a room. My teachers, I've been told this by a lot of people, but you know, I don't pay attention to it like that. But I feel like that's what it is. I feel like because I walk the talk, I walk the walk and I talk the talk, that I'm I have this certain space with me, that I'm on a different level in so many areas, that I can connect better with the people that I'm not, like my peers.
Mm.
If I'm in school or something like that, it would be more, it's rare if I click with a whole full classroom of people, because I was told that I wasn't able to run my business full time, go to school full time, and, do everything that I was doing full time and still accomplish and succeed and make it and be amazing. And I am. And I said, one of my classmates had a nerve to say that to me in class. And I said, and this is the last semester. And I turned around and said, I did. I just had to say, it's not okay. Let me just put this out there.
Yeah.
I am not a cocky person. I am nowhere. I'm mad goofy. However, when you get people speaking negative things to you and they telling you what you can't do, you need to have that confidence to say, I did. And yes, I can do it. Because if you let somebody say these negative things to you, what it's going to do is it's going to take away from what you're doing. It's going to take that energy away from you. And then now in yoga world, we call it mind stuff. That's when it starts to play games in your head and say, oh, you can't do it. Oh, you're doing too much. You can't do all of these things at one time and actually succeed. Time management, if you pick what is priority. Yes, I had to stop being a PTA president at my daughter's school in order to, run my business full time, travel for business, and go to school full time and do what I was doing. Yes, I had to do that. However, people had to know about YOMA method, right? So as I created the YOMA method, that was my goal, to let people know what it was, until I was pressing, and I was doing all of this while I was in school for massage therapy. But the goal of the YOMA method has been accomplished, and I'm still accomplishing goals with the YOMA method. And the YOMA method really healed me in so many areas of my life. When you hear me speak about the mind and the spirit and the energy, your energy goes by what you put out is what you receive, right? And your energy will tell you whether this person you should not be around, right? It's not in your head. Your energy is speaking to you. If you feeling something is not right, you got to pay attention to it. You got to listen to it. And I did that as I created the YOMA method. It really helped me come into a space. So guys, at the end of the day, the YOMA method was created by me going through what I had to go through, manage my emotions, manage my spirit, stay positive, and to not let stuff get into my head, right? And to allow the movement, because YOMA allows movement to happen in your body energetically, right? Your energy moves, but it can become stagnant. It can become scattered. It can make the mind cloudy. So it allows you to just open up, and you literally feel weight lifted off of you. So that's how the YOMA method was created, by me going through everything that I went through, and I just compiled everything and put it up into this beautiful work and a masterpiece. And then the YOMA method was born.
Outstanding, outstanding. Like, just sort of going back with regards to like when someone came up to you and, yeah, like, you can't start your business, you can't do this, you can't do that. Like, what I often see is a sort of projection of people's own lives, or what they're doing in their lives. So if they've got bad sort of time management and stuff like this, they'll project it onto you. And then basically when they can't sort of manage that, it's like, right, we all get 24 hours in the day, right? And like, this is the thing, like, you could be sweeping the streets, or you could be a multi-billionaire, still get 24 hours of time, like a day. Like, the difference might be someone might be watching a shed load of TV, like they might have like their whole priority on their family. They might
Mm-hmm.
have so many different like pools which draw and like take that energy away from them. But if it's like, yeah, I'm going to have to focus on this, I'm going to focus on that, and focus on this, and like, yeah, at hell held to with these sort of luxury sort of, let me just sit down and watch TV and Netflix and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, and put all my time, energy, and focus on this, raising my child, yes, setting up my business, yes, building more links, yes, studying. And when you've got all that energy going in that direction, yeah, you'll be amazed at how quickly things seem to open up with time. And look, I will admit myself, I am not the most focused individual. If I was more focused, I might be doing like, yeah, maybe 2, 3 times better than what I am now. But I think, but I don't try to project my sort of time limitations or my own limitations onto other people and go, yeah, there, you see, this is why you can't do it. This is why you like, this is why it's not going to come together for you. So I try to keep that to myself. But I think too many people throw that out there at other people who might be trying to do something great, grand, or like, you know what I mean? Just trying to get things going in their lives.
I agree, because something that you said that I always say, and even with my students, I say this with my students, and I always say, if somebody is speaking about you, they're talking about themselves.
Mm.
I said they are projecting themselves onto you. So anytime somebody comes to you and say, you give me anxiety, or somebody come to you and say, you know, you really have a problem, or they come to you and say, it's something about you I just don't like.
Oh God.
What? Okay, so it's something about them that they don't like.
Mm.
They gave themselves anxiety. Not true, right? So when you think about it, when people saying something to you, you really got to think about what they saying. They will come at the right time
Mm.
when you on your high, when you on that boat of, yes, I got this. Hey, I did that. And then they'll come and start saying some nonsense to you, or you could be onto something so big and amazing. And then somebody could just come at you with some nonsense and make your brain start twisting. Now, this is where it comes to where you know yourself, because there are always going to be people projecting themselves onto you. And they don't have to let you know that how they feel about it. They can be like, and be all giggly and still say stuff to you that are negative. Like I tell you, let me give you I gotta
I,
story with you
I
guys.
said the stories coming.
I have a story for days. Let me just tell you now. I had this one female helping me with a project.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna name names, but she was helping me with a project. However, she was helping with the project. She started complaining, right? She's being paid for this.
Mm.
She's complaining. Now, the energy this is how I go through life. This is how I even work and do anything that I do. The energy that you put into what you're doing is how the outcome would be, right? So now when someone is doing some work for me or doing work with me, your energy got to be different,
Mm.
because I'm not going to use what you just did. I'd rather get it redone somewhere else than to let you do it, right?
Okay.
Because of that energy. You complaining while you're doing it. That's somewhere where you're going to end up messing up, because it's going to show. It's going to show. You're going to end up messing up, and you're not even going to realize that you did it because you're complaining. She started complaining. I told her some things that needed to be changed, and she came back and said, no, you didn't tell me that. I'm like, yes, I did. I wrote it down in my notes. There was a pause.
Mm.
She didn't say anything. She said, oh, yes, I do. I have it in my notes too. Well, you really didn't, because if you had it in your notes, you would have understood how that breakdown was. So, and at the end of the day, the person just said to me, they was done with, I wanted to be done with them, honestly, but they were still completing the project. Stuff like that you step away from, because the person that said to me, oh, you give me anxiety. And I said, I didn't look, I am bold and outspoken. I didn't give you anxiety. You gave yourself anxiety. I didn't do anything. I didn't even say one word to you.
Mm.
So that just showed where their headspace were, right? And that just showed how they are. That shows something about that person, right? And it just kind of opened my eye, because when you see people like that, you would just assume that, oh man, they seem so positive, but in behind doors, they are something else. You know, there's a difference when people post and then they're not saying that you bring your drama onto the thing, but when you around people, you act one way. And then when you on a phone one-on-one with, it's another way. And then find out that you have a history of things with people is another way. So I say that because when I speak, a lot of stories got to connect to something that makes sense when it comes to how you cultivate relationships with people. You don't want to burn bridges, right? Bridges. You don't want to burn bridges. And if you guys don't know what burning bridges is, that's basically that relationship that we have. You messed it up doing something you shouldn't have been doing, or you said something that you shouldn't have said, and now you just burnt the bridge. You did something wrong. There's a history of you finding out that there's a history of your nonsense now. Now, then you don't want nobody to know you helped me with the project. I'm confused. Why you don't want nobody to know? Because you know you did something wrong.
Yeah, like this is why I sometimes don't understand about some, like, okay, I can understand when people are in negative space and, like, you know what I mean, they're down and, like, you know what I mean, life is putting them through the ring, and they, like, you know what I mean, they express that through stress and stuff like that. It's understandable. But one of the things which always perplexes me is when someone's like, hey, I'm positive, I'm cheery, I'm the most upbeat person around, blah 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 blah. But yet, like, they're like a duck or a swan, like on the lake. The reason why I use that, like, you see them gliding along, but underneath they're frantically kicking away, and, like, yeah, you're just like going, okay. So it's like they sell you on this, like, positive image, but yeah, like, they've got all of this stuff going on. Like, yeah, I'd rather have, like, yeah, see a ravaged Wolverine, like, okay, I understand what's going on, and how can I help calm things down? Or, yeah, I don't need that. But when they're that duck or swan, like, you're like, oh, you look perfectly fine, but yeah, in a way I can hide.
I can't with you because you are just clicking on everything. Like, look,
Yes.
that is exactly what I'm saying right there. You sit and you're really being dormant while you gliding on the lake. Mm. And you have those that are dormant, they positive, they flow in on this side, but then they hear one way, and then now, how did this person get a chance to do this? How did this person get a chance to? That's how their brains start going. And that's where all the mind stuff come in play. When you could be positive, but here it is. Are you really exercising all this positivity that you're doing? That is what YOMA is also. It's about exercising those mantras, those affirmations that you create for yourself.
Yeah.
It's exercising it in everyday life, right? I remember, like, somebody said to me, because when I go to church, I like to write notes. I got books for days. I got books for years of me going to church, and I keep it. Excuse me. I'm actually going to compile it into a book. I'm so serious, because that stuff really helped me through my space, and I'm compiling it into a book to grow out and guide others. But I collect these things, and somebody said, do you really write notes in church and keep them and go over them? I said, yeah, I really do. I said, in reality, I exercise it. So why are you out here saying, think positive, do positive, take action, and you're not doing those things, but you're trying to tell everybody else to do it? What are you doing for yourself, right? But one of my mentors said, be careful for people because they could post that they have a good life, but they really don't.
Mm.
And it's true, because that's why I think somebody hit me up one time and say, is everything okay with you? I'm like, yeah, everything is good. Oh, I'm just checking because I saw you posted something about needing I think I was doing a women's health day
Yeah.
summit, and somebody hit me up, was like, they thought I was sick. They thought something was wrong with me because I said I'm looking for females who are into like, I was looking for nurses and like a list of nutrition and dietitians and stuff like that. And they literally thought there was something wrong with me. Not saying, it was out of consideration or concern, but there was people that I don't even talk to that reached out. Not people that know, is the people that I barely talk to. So these are people that you really don't see doing too much. And then they come in the inbox to ask you, are you okay? Or if I didn't post in a while, they think something, ooh, pop my pin. If I didn't post, you saw that, right? If I didn't post in a while, they think something happened to me. Oh, you always posting, but I didn't see you post. I've been busy. I got some deadlines I gotta hit. I'm not thinking about social media right now. Like, literally, so I don't even want to be like on social media like that, especially if I got like a deadline to hit. I'm gonna be MIA, but MIA, when you see me post, you're gonna be seeing.
You really need something to do sound effects for you.
Oh my goodness, I said that. I said I need like one of those boards we go pew 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 pew. I swear I said that to somebody the other day. I'm looking into it though. I really am.
Yeah, you should get a Rodecaster Pro.
Yeah, you're gonna catch me that offline. You're gonna tell me, yeah. You're gonna be talking. We're gonna catch that.
For example, wait, I don't even know. Did you hear that?
Can I make my own music?
No, well, you can, like, with what I've got, you can upload it, but yeah, we'll definitely talk about this afterwards. Yeah.
I can't wait. Yes. All right. So, yeah, that's basically it. When it comes to people and acting positive one way and they really nasty and stink the other way, I don't want to deal with them because I usually pick it up. And honestly, sometimes you could be so busy that you may not be thinking, but I learned to like take a step back and see and be like, I would never work with this person. I don't give a heck if they was paying me $10,000, $50,000 for 1 hour. I wouldn't. I couldn't work with the person because that energy, being around that type of energy and having somebody complain so much. I don't like to complain. I'm more of an action taker.
Yeah.
I don't believe in complaining. I don't believe in acting like I'm positive one way and then I'm not the next way. Like, anybody that know me, you want to hear a fun fact? My friends be like, I have one of my friends that she's like, Mecca, you need to tone it down. It's too early in the morning for that. I'm like, what down? She said, girl, it is 9 a.m. in the morning and I'm still trying to wake up. I said, girl, I've been up since 5:30 this morning. She's like, what? I'm not getting up at 5:30 in the morning, but it's me, and anybody that know me, it's me. But can I tell you something on the sideline?
Go ahead.
Years ago, as I was going through my process after I lost my late husband, I had this thing where I would just like curse out, like if I saw a uniform, because that was like a trigger for me, like a military uniform. And I remember I put that inside of a newspaper article because I think someone from a newspaper wanted to speak to me and they did an article about me. And this is like years later. Nobody really knew anything about my story. But years later, it happened. And they got my story, put it in the newspaper, had no problems. I'm just saying, because when you are who you are, sometimes the enemy wants you to track back to where you was at before, to bring you back, right? Or to bring you down, right? Or to take away who you are today, right? Or to remind you of you this and this is how. So now, when the newspaper came out and people read the article, people look at me and start crying and say, I never knew those things about you. I never. I'm like, yeah, I know, because I never talked about it. I kind of stayed quiet because I got a lot of judgment for still dealing with the loss of my late husband. Now, what do you want from me when this man was everything? Like, he was my everything. When he moved, I moved just like that. You know, because of the military. But I had to make a song out of it. But I had people that known me for years, never had problems with them. All of a sudden, as I started to flourish and come out of this space that I was in, that newspaper article hit. It was meant for me to open up about my story, because I was just very quiet about it because of all the judgment. But it wasn't, I shouldn't have stayed quiet. I should have kept speaking up on it. However, people I've known for years just started to do certain things and say things and try to make it seem like I was a problem. And this is how you know you're growing, right, in life. Listen, the enemy will play games with your mind, your spirit. Whether you guys believe in God or not, there is no judgment. I don't judge no one. It's not my job. I'm letting you guys know, whether you believe in God or the universe, either way, it will happen where people will come at you when you come up a level. There's gonna be that enemy or whatever it is to try to bring you back down 5 levels. This is real talk, okay? I'm telling you, this is real talk, okay? So guys, please take your fishing rods out, will it out, and as I speak, roll it in slowly, okay? Because this is deep. This is deep. So, story came out. They started to say, all of a sudden, like, we would have a conversation, and then next thing you know, the person would be yelling at me, and I'm trying to figure out what happened because I don't even know what just happened. And then they came back and said, the report was, I was yelling and screaming and being hysterical and this, and I wasn't doing it. Now, mind you, believe it or not, there are people always watching you. You don't know who's watching you. One of my students / mentees came from around the corner of nowhere, didn't even know they were standing there watching the entire thing. And they came to me and said, you handled that situation very well. Mind you, they seen it. I didn't even know they was watching. Me not knowing that this person went back to the office to tell them that I was being belligerent and yelling, oh, she was this, she was that. And I wasn't doing none of those things. Right? And to have someone else come to me and you feel the fire burning from, like, you feel the heat coming from them, right? You could feel the heat. You could feel it. They came back again at me, another person that they done complained and made up a lie. And this is how I was progressing. This is as I was, I think I was doing a, what is it called? I can't remember what it was. Press conference.
Okay.
I started to, like, I was at a press conference with the governor from here. They saw me on the news. They, you know, it's like people want you to stay suppressed, right? And when they see you flourishing and growing, they tend to try to come at you, to try to break you down and just try to break your spirit down. And the YOMA method is a lot about real life. It's not about me creating of things that's not true, that's not real. I'm not the only one that experienced things when you come up a level, you got somebody trying to take you down 5 levels, or it's where somebody's trying to bring back a part of you that you not part of that space no more. You're not in that space no more. You're not that space of where you will lash out at somebody and say, get out of my face and da, 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 da.
Mm.
That's not where you at anymore.
It's about
From there,
is it about building mental fortitude?
yep. hmm You see? So you see,
Uh,
it, what people don't understand is that when you allow yourself to pay closer attention to the action of others and be mindful. So my thing with YOMA is to be vigilant. And when you're vigilant, you can see a lot. So now the spirit where you could pay attention and see and pick up what other people, that that negative energy, right? The spirit of discernment.
mm.
You could see it in their eyes. You could feel it in their spirit. And you could tell that that's just something where they try to bring you down. When you got this person saying, oh my goodness, what you did is just really going to help so many other people that experience what you experienced, and even people that didn't experience what you experienced. The higher person over them said this to me. But then this person come from nowhere to come try to bring me in a different space. And if this person that is higher than you is supporting me, why are you trying to take away that from me? You
Mm.
know, come to find out, I'm real. And I will say, well, I've done it before. I don't care. I mean, I'll let you know what it is, and I'll let them know, like, you're going through something right now. And I understand that you're going through something, but please don't project your issues onto me. I'm not in that space where you trying to place me.
Mm.
So don't do it. Don't misery loves company, and I'm not going to be your company. And I will not allow you to make me stoop to your level. All right. And that will make somebody think or make somebody lash out. Or now it's all about how you communicate to them. Because you can communicate it in a proper manner and they'll still take it out of context. Because that's their brain. That's where they are. That's where their spirit is.
Mm.
And then try to take away from who you are. And this is real life. My clients, I could teach a class and throw so much information into it. And they'll come to me and they'll say, are you serious? They said, I went through this breakup and my ex-husband or ex-boyfriend kept telling me that I was useless, or that you you're this and you're that. And I told him years ago how I was and how I changed, and he still throw it in my face. Or it could be a man that went through something and they'll sit there and say, I just experienced something, and it just really bothered me, and I can't deal with this anymore, and I just feel like I can't think because of what's happening in my, men, they don't really give you too much information. They'll just like more say little stuff, but they won't give you the whole snippet, some guys. So
Okay.
that's what I experienced with a lot of my clients, because everybody go through, but sometimes you think you're the only one that's going through it when you're really not. There's someone else experiencing what you're experiencing. So that's why I always say real life, and YOMA method has a lot to do with real life, because I throw real life into it. Real life is always into it, because when you think about it, life is not perfect and it's not always the way that you create it to be. It can shift at any time and any moment. So you got to be ready. So
No,
I,
I hear that. And yeah, with regards to like, yeah, people dealing with like past relationships and everything like this, I often like the thing when I was in my sort of late teens, early 20s, what kind of really surprised me, like I would have like some of my female friends, which I would like consider strong ladies, like in all about, yes, this, that, stand for themselves. And like, yeah, I'm a strong, independent woman. and they hit some doozies of a relationships, and you're just like going, what's happened to that confident, strong person you were? And like I've seen it happen to a couple of guys where they've been in abusive relationships as well. And you kind of like go, okay, like when when I first came across it, it was like, yeah, I tried to do everything under the sun to like talk him out, and that's like, yeah, not do this, do that. What would you do? And like they'll say all the right things. If you went, yeah, if this was a person, what would you say to them? You'll do this, and they'll go through the whole spiel. But it's one of those things where if they're not ready, kind of like drinking or like some whatever addiction like people might have, they're never going to sort of kick that sort of habit. And like this is the thing, like if they can find a program what you offer or something else when they are ready to sort of give them that sort of little extra nudge or push, I think that's always a good thing to help people, like, you know what I mean, talk, get that sort of mental anxiety out there. Because like right, using that as an example, it's one thing. Now with today, when like pretty much most of the planet has been locked down for a good 3 to 4 months in some cases, going like currently it's the 6th of November here, and we've just gone back into lockdown in the UK up until the 2nd of December. But as I said to you before we started this, they've increased the furlough scheme here in the UK. So it looks like that's going to be going on longer because the furlough scheme's up until the 31st of like March. So yeah, it doesn't bode well. And with regards to like, yeah, mental anxiety, I think there's going to be a lot more of that going around. And like people, like there's been people, scores of people who have ended their lives tragically because of this. And like this is the thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not belittling like the big COVID virus going out there, but it seems more damage is being done now on the other side, and it doesn't seem like there's a lot of people getting support out there. Very important support.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's not, but I feel like the support needs to be given in somewhat way because people are suffering. People are going through a lot, and I'm telling you, I think it showed this moment when we were in our, you know, we in New York, so we got hit hard. So this quarantine here, it either made you or broke you. And I feel like a lot of people just didn't know how to handle it, and it just took them somewhere else, you know, and they didn't have that support to have a foundation, and your foundation really starts from within. I just feel like that is very important to have. And during this time, they probably should have gave out pushed out more support systems versus diving money into a lot of other things. I just felt like they really should have focused on some health and wellness, self-care things. Yeah.
Yeah, like this is the thing. Like I know it's been difficult over in the state. Well, it's been difficult pretty much everywhere around the world. And like I've got to say, when it first like hit over here, I gave the government sort of more leeway because we don't because it was like, yeah, 10,000 people, this, that, the other. Like the numbers they were talking about were going to be astronomical. Thankfully, it wasn't like that. But as like in New York, yeah, when you heard about, I think did you have a morgue barge brought in, like to New York City? No, you had a hospital barge brought in, I believe, at one point. Was that correct?
We had a lot. We had trucks. We had places being turned into hospitals. There was a lot. There was a lot that they had. I mean, stuff that people were seeing with bodies, and I just think this whole situation was traumatizing for a lot of people. And I think I stayed away from the news because I just couldn't take hearing so much of the negative stuff. And I think I really just stayed and been I took that quarantine and I just did a lot of work during quarantine. I didn't want to watch the news. My
Mm.
mother would call me to say, hey, did you hear about the? I'm like, oh no, I wasn't watching it. I just couldn't hear so much of it because it's a lot to take in.
Mm.
I know what's going on. I understand what's going on, but you know, and I do follow up with the news and things like that, but I can't sit down all day and do that. I can't do it. I can't, because if I did that, I wouldn't be able to accomplish other things. The focus is still to accomplish what you need to accomplish, but be mindful, use that time wisely. If people weren't stuck on, here we go, back in their mind and thinking a lot in their head,
Mm.
I'm pretty sure they would have been more productive and able to accomplish a lot of things that they wanted to accomplish. I just feel like, but I'm gonna say this: there is no judgment because everybody is different, and that's all I'm gonna say. Everybody is different, and there is no judgment. I'm just saying, when we learn how to get outside of our head and take that space, that energy that we're spending on that negative stuff that is actually happening, not saying not to pay attention to it,
Mm.
and put that time into something, you could create something amazing. I took advantage of that time. I took advantage of being in the house. That's how I became an author, literally. Within that time frame, I became an author. 2 books and a journal.
2
That
books
was it.
journal.
Yes.
Right. And like sort of going into that, how, like, what were the 2 books about? Was it just by yourself or did you collaborate with people?
Well, the first book it's called Humble Haitian Warrior. It's about my late husband.
Mm-hmm.
Basically breaking down lessons I've learned from him. It's on my website. And it's on the website, humblehaitianwarrior.com. And it's kind of like giving tips on how to overcome, and also just, you know, telling you about him and how he was, and something about how we met, and things like that, things that he lived by and how I implemented in my everyday life.
Mm.
You know, I really do implement it. Like people used to call us 2 peas in a pie. So I do that. And the second book was a collaboration book called Blessed Not Broken. That's also my it's on my Instagram link, Blessed Not Broken. Yeah, if you go on my Instagram, it's in my link and you see Blessed Not Broken. And I guess you'll provide that information if.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And that was a collaboration of women that experienced like some situations in lives, some traumatic experiences and stuff like that. So I'm one of them. And my chapter is called Resilient Wife. And that's because, you know, my journey, my process that I went through. I can't tell you the whole story now, because then you got to get the book to catch that story. It's deep. It's deep. But yeah, that's how I end up. It was great to collaborate with a group of women, first time doing it. And to be able to do it and know what I was already plotting in my head, and to be able to be part of something, that anthology was amazing. And the journal, I created a journal. It's called the YOMA Method 360 Life Journal. That journal is life-changing because I literally took everything that allowed me to exercise in my life and to like level up and propel and do everything that I'm doing. I put it all into a journal. It's on Amazon, but you can also go to my website and get that. YOMAmethod.com. You could get that at my website.